Have you ever thought about those places, where profound spirituality and just absolutely breathtaking nature kind of merge into one? Today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly that kind of place. Uttarakhand, it's often called Dev Bhoomi.
The land of the gods, yeah.
Exactly. And our mission today, well, it's to sift through all the information we've got, pull out the really key stuff about Uttarakhand. We'll look at everything from its ancient roots right up to its modern day challenges, hopefully uncover some surprising things along the way. So, yeah, let's explore this incredible land.
And what's really fascinating here, I think, is how Uttarakhand truly lives up to that name, that divine moniker. It's not just a collection of pretty spots. It's this living mix of Himalayan grandeur, deep sacred heritage, and a genuinely vibrant culture. In this deep dive, we'll try to connect those dots for you, show why it's much more than just a travel spot. It's an experience. It really stays with you.
That's a great way to describe it, yeah. At its heart, Uttarakhand really is this Dev Bhoomi, this serene, sacred state up in northern India. It's absolutely packed with Himalayan beauty, that spiritual heritage we mentioned, adventure tourism too, and a local culture that feels, well, very distinct. And what's interesting is, despite feeling so ancient, it's actually a pretty young state. It was carved out of Uttar Pradesh, became the 27th state of India on November 9th, 2000.
Right.
And that only happened after this really long public movement, people pushing for their own identity, for more focused development.
It's quite remarkable, isn't it, how that relatively recent political formation sort of highlights its enduring appeal. It's become one of India's most loved destinations for, well, everyone, pilgrims, trekkers, travelers.
Yeah.
Precisely because it now has that focused identity, which allows it to better manage and showcase its ancient spiritual roots that, let's be honest, have drawn people for thousands of years, way before 2000.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it leads us perfectly into its history, which is just incredibly deep. When we talk about Uttarakhand's ancient roots, we're really going back millennia. This isn't just scenery.
Yeah.
It's land mentioned in, the foundational Hindu texts, the Puranas, the Mahabharata, the Ramayana. It's seen as the land of sages and saints. So many myths and legends are tied directly to its forests, its rivers.
And then, fast forward quite a bit, and history leaves another layer with the British era. Places we know well, like Mussoorie, Nainital, Almora, they became really popular summer retreats for the British during colonial times, escaping the heat, basically.
Right.
And you could still see that legacy pretty clearly today, can't you? In the architecture, those old colonial buildings and some very prestigious schools that are still there.
Absolutely. And this history, it's not just in books, it's literally carved into the mountains and rivers that shape the region's geography. You've got Tibet or China to the north, Nepal to the east, Uttar Pradesh down south, and Himachal Pradesh to the west. But what really hits you is the terrain itself. About 86% of it is mountainous, and over 60% is covered in forests. It's fundamentally a Himalayan state.
And sort of broadening that perspective, this mountainous terrain isn't just about the views, though they are spectacular. It's hugely significant ecologically. Uttarakhand is the actual origin point, the source of two of India's most vital and sacred rivers.
The Ganga and Yamuna.
Exactly. The Ganga flows from the Gangotri Glacier, and the Yamuna starts at the Yamunotri Glacier. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the ecological and spiritual weight of being the source of these life-giving rivers feeding the plains, it's just immense. You can't overstate it.
Given how vast and, well, mountainous it is, it's interesting how it's organized. Administratively, Uttarakhand is split into two main regions, right? Garhwal and Kumaon. So Garhwal includes cities like Dehradun, Haridwar, Rishikesh, lots of temples, big pilgrimage routes there. Kumaon, on the other hand, has places like Nainital, Almora, Pithoragarh. It's maybe more known for its specific scenic beauty and a different kind of cultural richness.
And that sort of duality, that split, even shows up in its capital structure. It's quite unusual. Dehradun is the winter capital, and it's the largest city, but Garhsane is the summer capital.
Right, Garhsane. This raises an important question, doesn't it? Why two? Is Garhsane just symbolic?
Largely, yes. It plays a really significant symbolic role. It was chosen because it's pretty much geographically central. The idea was to represent and hopefully unify both Garhwal and Kumaon, trying to build that shared state identity across the two distinct regions.
Okay, I see. So it's clear Uttarakhand's identity is just so deeply woven with Hindu spirituality. What is it exactly about this region that makes it such a powerhouse for faith in India?
It's hard to compare it, really. It's quite simply seen as the heart of Hindu spirituality.
Yeah.
And the main reason is probably the Char Dham Yatra. It's often described as the most sacred pilgrimage circuit in India.
The 4 sites.
Yes, the 4 dams. Yamunotri, the source of the Yamuna River. Gangotri, source of the Ganga.
Yeah.
Kedarnath, which is one of the 12 Jyotirlingas.
Those are the representations of Lord Shiva.
Exactly, as a pillar of light.
Yeah.
And Badrinath, which is dedicated to Lord Vishnu. Millions undertake this journey, seeking spiritual merit, cleansing, maybe liberation. It's a massive undertaking, physically and emotionally.
And beyond Char Dham, which is obviously huge, what other major religious spots draw people to Uttarakhand?
Oh, there are many others, each with its own unique significance. Haridwar, for instance, it hosts the incredible Kumbh Mela every 12 years.
Right, the massive gather.
Huge.
Yeah.
And it's famous for the daily Ganga Aarti ceremony in the evenings. Really beautiful. Then there's Rishikesh. It's globally famous now, isn't it? The yoga capital of the world.
Definitely.
People come from everywhere for its ashrams, meditation centers, and it's not just Hindu sites either. Hemkund Sahib is a very important Sikh pilgrimage site, way up high in the Himalayas. Quite stunning.
Okay, so moving from the sacred geography, let's talk about the culture. Uttarakhand seems to just pulse with this vibrant life. What about the traditions, the languages, the festivals that make up its identity?
It really is a mosaic. Hindi is the official language, yes, but you hear Garhwali and Kunaloni everywhere, reflecting those 2 main regions we talked about.
Right.
And in some tribal areas, you'll also find languages like Jaunsari, Bhotia, and Rang. Each one carries, centuries of its own unique heritage. That linguistic diversity is really something.
And how does that cultural mix express itself, like in music and dance?
Oh, the folk traditions are incredibly rich, very lively. You have dances like Jahura, which is often a community dance, especially in spring, sort of embodies collective joy.
Yeah.
Then there's Chahara, a sword dance you see at weddings or big occasions that represents bravery.
Wow, a sword dance.
Yeah. And other lively ones like Lengvir Nutya and Bharata Nati. What's really nice is the songs often aren't just entertainment. They celebrate nature, tell stories of bravery, honor local gods. They really weave the spirit of the land into the art.
And festivals must be a huge part of life there, too. Any key ones we should know about?
Absolutely. Harela is quite unique. It's celebrated just before the monsoon starts. It's really about honoring the earth's fertility, praying for a good harvest. Other big ones include Ganga Dussehra, Makar Sankranti, Basant Panchami, and then there's the Nanda Devi Raj Jat Yatra.
Oh, I've heard of that one. It's quite rare, isn't it?
Incredibly rare. It's this huge pilgrimage that only happens once every 12 years. So it's a massive, deeply significant event for the whole region when it does happen.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit towards its natural grandeur. Uttarakhand really does sound like a paradise for nature lovers, adventurers, wildlife fans.
It absolutely is, no question.
What are some of the standout natural spots or adventure activities that really pull people in?
Well, for those looking for beauty and maybe some peace, it's got those classic hill stations. Mussoorie, the Queen of the Hills, full of that colonial charm.
Right.
Nainital, the lake town, great for boating, just strolling around.
Yeah.
And then others like Ranikhet, Lansdowne, Almora, each has its own feel, its own escape into the mountains.
And what about for people looking for more of a thrill, the adrenaline junkies?
Yeah, well, the options there are pretty incredible. The sheer variety of the landscape, those high peaks, the fast rivers. It's basically turned Uttarakhand into India's adventure playground, you could say. Trekking is massive. You've got famous routes like the Valley of Flowers, which is just stunning, Kedarnath for a summit challenge, the mystery of Rupkund Lake.
Rupkund, with the skeletons.
That's the one. And classic treks like Harkidan. Then Rishikesh, as we mentioned, it's world famous for river rafting and kayaking. People come from all over for that.
And skiing.
Yes, Auli. It's considered one of the best skiing resorts in India. Amazing slopes, incredible views. Plus, you can find great spots for camping, paragliding too, in places like Pimtal or Mukteshwar. What's fascinating here is this incredible variety, this convergence. You have deep spiritual serenity right alongside these, heart-pounding adventure sports. It's a unique mix.
And all that natural beauty obviously supports a lot of wildlife. What about the national parks? What kind of animals call Uttarakhand home?
Yeah, for wildlife enthusiasts, it's a real treasure trove. Jim Corbett National Park is probably the most famous. It was India's very first national park.
The first.
The first. And it's crucial for Bengal tiger conservation. Seeing a tiger there, it's an amazing experience. Then you have Rajaji National Park, which is known for its large elephant herds and fantastic bird watching. And, of course, the Valley of Flowers National Park. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Between July and September, it just explodes into this carpet of wildflowers. Truly breathtaking, an absolute must-see if you're there at the right time.
Okay, let's pivot a bit now. Let's talk about the state's economy and maybe some of the challenges and opportunities it's facing looking ahead. What are the main ways people make a living in Uttarakhand?
The economy really rests on three main pillars, you could say. First, agriculture and horticulture are really important, especially up in the hills. Think apples, peaches, plums, apricots, also potatoes.
Right, the mountain crops.
Exactly. Second, tourism. As we've discussed, it's a huge income generator. That includes both the religious pilgrimage traffic and the growing ecotourism, adventure tourism sector. And third, given all those fast-flowing Himalayan rivers, hydropower generation is a pretty significant industry for the state as well.
And beyond those natural resources, Uttarakhand also seems to be quite important for education and research.
It absolutely is. It punches above its weight there, I'd say. It's home to some really top-tier institutions. You've got IIT Roorkee, which is world-renowned, the Indian Military Academy, the IMA in Dehradun, the Forest Research Institute, FRI, which is vital for studying Himalayan ecosystems, the Wadia Institute of Himalayan Geology, too. Plus, it has some very famous, prestigious boarding schools like the Dune School and Wilhelm Girls. They draw students from all over India, even abroad.
But like any place with such dramatic geography, Uttarakhand must face some pretty serious inherent challenges, right? You hear about natural disasters.
Yes, unfortunately, that's true.
Yeah.
Because of the terrain, the climate, things like landslides, cloud bursts, flash floods, they're quite common and can be devastating. It's a constant risk.
That must be incredibly difficult for people living there.
It is. And these natural dangers often compound another really difficult social issue, which is migration. Over the years, many villages, particularly in remote areas, have sadly been abandoned. People leave because there just aren't enough jobs or opportunities.
Wow.
It leads to this phenomena of ghost villages,
Yeah.
Empty houses, silent settlements where whole communities had just gone, moved to the cities looking for work. It's quite heartbreaking.
That's incredibly sad.
And on top of that, you have the constant challenge of it being an eco-sensitive region. Development has to be incredibly careful, really conscious of protecting the fragile Himalayan environment. If we connect this to the bigger picture, finding that balance between development, jobs, and protecting the very ecosystem that defines the state, that's the crucial ongoing challenge.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, it's just so clear, isn't it? Uttarakhand is way more than just a place to visit. It's this incredible blend, spiritual, cultural, ecological, a real gem of India. You know, from the snow-covered Kedarnath temple high up to the green slopes around Nainital, down to the yoga centers along the Ganga in Rishikesh. It really does offer something deep for almost everyone. Pilgrims, poets, peace seekers.
Absolutely. And maybe that leads us to a final thought, something provocative for you, the listener, to consider. Given everything we've talked about, Uttarakhand's sacred status, its undeniable ecological fragility, and these really tough challenges like the ghost villages, how should future development be guided? How can it preserve that timeless essence, that Dev Bhoomi spirit, while also ensuring that the people who live there can actually prosper and have a vibrant future? And what lessons might that hold, perhaps, for other incredibly beautiful but ecologically sensitive regions around the world that are grappling with similar pressures? Finding that balance.
It's a really complex relationship, isn't it, between faith, nature, human needs, progress. Beautiful, but sometimes heartbreaking, too. Definitely something to reflect on. We really encourage you to continue your own deep dive into these big ideas.